Talk now to Claire Allam, who's mother to Hugh, a 20-year-old deaf student at the Deaf Academy. And Claire, nice to talk to you. Thank you for joining us. How is he coping at the moment?
Well, at the moment, he's coping very well, I have to say, because the Academy's put in place a whole lot of learning and community activities to make sure that he's entertained and educated throughout the day. But over the Easter holidays, I was extremely worried about him. He was very miserable, almost depressed, I would say, at the loss of, the sort of forthcoming term. So it's having that in place, that structure in place has been a big help for us since the term started.
You differentiated between education and entertainment, and of course for both of them it's a matter of routine. It's having something to do at a given time.
Absolutely. So I think one of the things the Academy's done an amazing job. They've not only looked at the learning aspects of Hugh's education and his peers' education, and they've put things in place to allow him to study, obviously both using things like Zoom and Teams, and they've used a whole gamut of the technology that's available to them. And that's been really important in allowing him to have a routine. But they've also they're also well aware that children and young adults like Hugh are very isolated, and that does cause additional problems for families and for the children themselves. So they've put a framework around community. So they've also, we've also got, it's fantastic actually, Hugh looks ecstatic every morning. He has his tutor group, and then at lunchtime he will not miss the common room time where all of the kids and the young people get together on Zoom and they can see each other and they can really interact. So that's been a fantastic help for us.
And that must make a huge difference, that visual side of it, the ability to sign to one another.
Absolutely. So for children like Hugh who are deaf and have additional needs, having that community and that ability to communicate both with their peers and with their care workers, the key workers that he normally works with, is important. Otherwise, he really is very isolated, even obviously with us around and here to spend time with him.
You mentioned an element of depression creeping in, and the one question he, like so many people, want to know is when will it end? And it must be very difficult not to have an answer to that.
It's absolutely painful. I think it's not just painful for him, it's painful for my daughter who's studying her finals too, but it's really difficult to say to him, we don't know. So, we have to break it to him slowly. So initially we've said, well, we think the virus will finish in May, knowing really that probably it wasn't going to happen, but we have to keep managing his expectations, and, we have to keep his hopes up because he's very, very, very keen to get back to the Academy and all of the sort of the community and the learning that it offers for him.
And of course, there's no sport on the telly, and for a young man, that's important.
Absolutely. So he's a completely passionate rugby supporter, and that's just gone. So he was looking forward to all sorts of things. Obviously the Olympics are coming up. There's so much that was in his mind that he was looking forward to. And so we're just waiting for it to restart. I don't think we're different from other parents. I think it's just that communicating that is a little bit harder, to a child or a young person with special needs.
And is there any positive in this, in that there he is spending a lot of time on his own? He's having to organise his life a bit, perhaps in a way he didn't before.
Of course, there are always positives in these situations. So I've been quite excited to see him. I've sat next to him doing my work. So we sit next to each other sometimes. He does his work and I'm doing my work. And that's lovely. And he's had to learn to organise himself in the same way that you do when you get into an office environment. He's had to learn about when his lessons are starting and how does he access them, and how does he organise himself to be able to do that. So that's really positive. And then I also think we've done a lot of cooking. He's shown a huge amount of independence, and I think he's probably done a lot more cooking than many 20-year-olds. He's made cakes. He's making his sister's birthday cake today, which is great. And I'm also looking forward to continuing the partnership with the Academy, because we already had great contact, but working virtually like this just opens up other opportunities for us, I think, in the future as well.
And for him, presumably, it must change perhaps his view of his deafness.
I think so. The Academy did that anyway. He came out of his first year a very proud young man, a very proud deaf young man. But this just puts a framework around him that he'll be able to continue as an adult. So as he, obviously has to move away from college, and he goes into adult life, he'll now know how to really create those communities around him, and that will help him, I've no doubt.
We've spent all this time talking about Hugh. How are you coping?
I am like every other parent who's got children and young people at home. It's a mixture of absolute pleasure and delight and moments of frustration. And, you know, the biggest thing is that you wish you could fix it for them. You wish you could get them back into their normal lives. And, you know, that's hard at times. And it's particularly hard to explain it to Hugh. But I don't think my situation is so very different from other parents in that, you know, I speak to lots of people and it's hard work, but obviously it's great fun at the same time.
It's really good to talk to you. Claire Allen, thanks so much for your time this afternoon.
Thank you.
Thanks.